Hello, everyone. We're doing a podcast called Shaping Tomorrow, Sustainability, Innovation and Leadership with Professor Dr. Anabel, Princess of Prussia, Ternès of Hattburg. Hello there.
Hey, very happy to be here.
Very much so. Thank you so much. So, first question, can you share with us how you got to where you are today, your career, and brought you to your current roles in sustainability, innovation, and leadership?
Thank you very much for your question, Tim. This is a very good question because it's hitting the important points for me. I was born in a multinational family and a multicultural family, and in a family where I was not happy with my location where I was born. So I wanted to change something for the better in my early childhood. So I started my first initiative when I was 7, seeing at the beach of Norddeich-Mode, which is at the port of North Germany. I wanted to put away the plastic waste because that got on my nerves. And I thought that it's a human right, and especially a children's right, that you can play at the beach without plastic waste. So that was my first concern, and it brought me into radio, to having an own radio show as a child, where I did some audios about how you can keep the nature in a way the nature loves you back. And I did this for a part before I then stepped, of course, more into the world of further education, because I did my A levels, went into other countries, and I started in consumer goods. I loved always luxury, beauty of nature, but also beauty of fashion, smell, and interior, and stepped into this studying in different university in London, Stanford, Germany, and stepped in with my first job to Taiwan. So it was a really tough experience of culture, another culture, and that brought me also into that I loved traveling and I love experience culture, and I'm very good in that to place products in different markets to adapt to the culture and the needs of the people. I had my first marketing job, and it brought me into interior. And then the next steps were in consumer goods in different countries and different companies, building up markets for them, which involved that you have to be good in design, in business development, in HR, dealing with people, and sales and marketing. So I really loved that, being a kind of girl for everything on the top management level, until I got a ski accident. This ski accident 12 years ago brought me into a terrible situation, because from one to the next day I couldn't do anything anymore. And if I think about laying me there, it felt terrible, because I'm a powerful person used to move things, and I couldn't move even my small finger, not anymore. So 2 years later, I was told by the medical doctors that I will die. And on that day, I decided that I won't die. And I decided on that day that this will be the first start of my new life. And I put together wisdom from TCM, from Chinese medicine, from Indian medicine, and other indigenous medicine to so I was 2 years then in a wheelchair. It was a terrible time, where I worked for politicians as a press speaker and raised my own business and NGOs, and got a professorship. So I was at that time the professorship and the chair of Dieter Kronzucker, one of the most famous presenters in television in Germany, which I took over, and he was so nice to stay as long as I needed and stayed in the wheelchair. This went boring for me, because using that used to be in consumer goods, you're used to ta 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 ta. So it was clear that I had to found something. So I started founding initiatives wherever I worked, in cooperation with universities, and I started also building startups again. So meanwhile, I think it's a 9th or 10th startup I've built. And it's all sustainable startups with impact in different branches, from logistics over fashion, hotel business, or travel industry, to academia, building a university, but also a platform for mental health. For me, it's most important is for me health combined with digitization, because I'm a really maniac about digitization. And it was a key for me in my childhood, because I learned that with digitization, you can reach a lot of people wherever you are, even if you lived in a rural area as I did. So it was for me the window into the world. And I'm a really fan of authenticity, of clearness, of resilience, because it helped me, of course, also getting back to life. So nowadays, I'm a bestseller author, I'm a TEDx speaker, and I'm a professor for communication management, running the Institute for Innovation and Sustainability Management. And I'm busy and voluntarily engaged in different NGOs and initiatives and organizations, some co-founded on my own, but some also big names, just as UN Women, for example, and others, where I like and love to bring everything in from my power and my experience and my network, what I have. And I'm a mother of a small son. So I like also doing something and seeing the next generation growing and doing something for the next generation to make the world a better place as we can with all the knowledge we have and all the old wisdom and the knowledge from AI. To add one thing to the question, I mean, you asked me about my path, and I think two important things of my path were that I did sports very early on a really high level. I did athletics and tournament, and in addition, I played the piano and gave concerts from my fourth year, and that brought me to knowing that you need discipline and creativity both to master something, and you have to stay with adaptability always.
As a futurist, what trends or innovation excites you the most about the next decade?
I'm excited about the convergence of AI, regenerative technologies, and planetary health. Innovations in precision medicine, circular economies, and digital twins for cities give us tools to create equitable futures. But more than the tech, it's a growing global mindset shift toward ethical innovation that gives me hope.
How do you integrate sustainability into your roles as a leader, entrepreneur, and educator?
For me, sustainability isn't a side note, it's a core. So, in every company I lead, in every class I teach, and every initiative I support, apply system thinking and impact thinking. Whether it's choosing suppliers, designing communication strategy, or mentoring founders, sustainability is embedded in the decision making on a social, ecological, and economical level for me.
What challenges have you faced in advocating for diversity, sustainability, and innovation, and how have you overcome them?
Advocating for diversity and sustainability has often meant going against the grain and being the voice in the room that says we need to do better or in a different way. I've faced resistance, but through collaboration and storytelling and authenticity and just behaving as you are, I've learned to build bridges instead of walls. Being authentic, consistent, and visionary helped earn trust. And for me, it's important also that I feel or be a kind of ambassador. So sustainability is for me a kind of key, telling people that it's not something which is traditional. It is a kind of key element for us to drive the future. And who thinks that there is sustainability in another pole of digitalization hasn't understood that it's about a multi-transformation. And the key is leadership. And the leadership stands with and starts with us. And it's about me to understand in which direction it goes and how to get the people and master to embed everything.
Who or what inspires you in your work as a role model and advocate for change?
I'm inspired by people who lead with quiet strength and long-term thinking. And my childhood figures like Jane Goodall and Wangari Maathai inspired me very much. But also by everyday people, starting from my grandmother who escaped the country with 4 little children, and her ill mother and her ill mother-in-law left everything at home and started with scratch from zero as a cleaning lady in Germany with not using her name, but another name, and building up an own company with that, with a lot of power, with a lot of humor, and with a lot of instinct for building a network with the right people around herself, as she understood that collaboration makes you successful and means a win-win situation for everybody. I mean, to be honest, everyday people, students building climate projects, entrepreneurs reinventing supply chains, but also, for example, having a person sitting at the cash counter of a store is saying in a very nice and friendly way hello to a person just paying for the things, for the milk, for the bottle you just bought. I mean, these are sparks of change that remind me of our collective power and that everybody is at the right place if you just see it and use the position where you are.
Club of Rome and Budapest. What does your involvement in these organizations mean to you, and how does it align with your vision for a better future?
First of all, it's a big honor for me to being part of both clubs because it is a kind of being together with visionary thinkers and shaping our world. And it's always good to feel that you're not one and you can share your vision, build a connectivity, build communities. And these communities promote global consciousness, systemic change, and human dignity. Values I live by in every role I take. And it's great for me to have, with my role as a president of the Club of Budapest, Germany, the ability to bring people together in this role, to convince in a better way, to bring together the youth for these ideas of creating a better world and giving them all power and competencies often already in them by awakening their potential and supporting them in developing their future skills.
How do you see the intersection of digitization and sustainability shaping industries like healthcare and energy?
Yeah, this is a really important point. Digitization, when guided ethically, is a catalyst for sustainability, a catalyst for a better life, and a catalyst and a driver for having a better life, a longer life, a healthier life, a happier life. So AI can optimize energy grids, detect disease or personalized education. It's also a great tracker for people worldwide, but it must be human-centered. I work with institutions to ensure responsible AI that enhances resilience in sectors like health and energy. And I founded also initiatives just in Egypt, the human face of AI in 2016, where we saw that it's relevant and necessary to avoid unconscious bias and to make people aware of what a power it has. If we are not responsible, if we are not that sensible about things, and how important it is to drive there, to take there the right decisions for which people we are embedding, which people we are hiring, and which topics are discussed, to avoid that we go and leave bringing this into the wrong direction.
Why is equitable education so critical to the future, and how are you contributing to this cause?
It's a super important topic you're talking about. And to be honest, I hate school and I hate education because I had to visit a girls' school with nuns. And it was really a super traditional school, and I hated every day I had to go there. And I swear by myself that I will do everything I can to help other kids for the future to be able to visit a better school. Education is for me the foundation and the key of sustainable societies, and yet access is still unequal. And this is bad because we can't reach the 17 development goals, the ESG goals, and the SDG goals. We can't reach even a world we like to live in if we not start with the education. Education is even the key also for the future of every and each country, but of course for the whole planet. And through Get Your Wings, digital platforms such as Cleanup or Green Bytes, the Planet and Pixel, the organizations I'm in, A Plan for the Planet, Foundation for Reading and Mentorship for Global Shapers and others. I champion scalable, inclusive education that empowers especially young girls and underserved communities to become change makers. And when we talk about education, I'm not talking about age. Yes, you have to start as early as possible. But if you educate, you should also educate the parents too. You should also give the elderly a chance to be educated. Because if we talk, for example, about financial education, and they are talking also about the academic, I mean, we have a huge poverty of academic women in Germany and around because they've never taught about financial education. So they did their job, they did a good job over 40 years, and then suddenly they are alone, suddenly they are retired and see that the income dropped down. We really have to start with every age, include all, but of course, especially in the schools, in the early education at kindergarten, we have to start with this to get everybody involved in this about education, about a better world, about a fair world, and about a world where diversity is the key for every further process.
As a successful entrepreneur, what advice would you give to those looking to build impactful, sustainable businesses?
It's a great question because it reminds me of a company I should start as a general manager. And when I asked the question in the talk, I said, why have you started the company? What was your goal? And they said, we wanted to make money. And then I said, and how did you find the name? It was just because we were sitting together, because we talked about how can we make more money. And we had a bottle of wine in front of us, and it was the name of the bottle of wine. Oops. Okay. I didn't take this job, of course, because I found it a bit confusing. So, answer is start with your why and then build systems that are agile, adaptive, circular, and value driven. Today's most impactful business measure success not just in growth, but in positive impact. My advice, create partnerships early, stay customer focused, and be transparent. And start with the people. If you choose the wrong people, you can forget about the product. You can forget about everything. It's just stressful. And don't take friends. Take the right people.
How has your expertise in branding and storytelling helped you drive change in industries you've worked in?
To be honest, I love branding because it's a little bit like opening a flower and give this flower its beauty, its full beauty. So storytelling turns abstract goals into emotional movements. And I've used brand narratives to inspire stakeholder buy-in, create identity, and amplify impact. In sustainability, stories matter. They connect the data with the heart, and they connect the unspoken and unbelievable with something which is not that abstract, but is in front of your door and knocking at your door. So that's how you create transformation, not just communication. And as you can see, communication is the key there.
How can businesses and societies move beyond stereotypes to unleash true potential?
It is a super important question you ask. Because stereotypes are killing us. They're bringing us into old patterns. They're hindering us against future bullying and being transformative. So stereotypes limit really potential. We must design systems that recognize diverse experiences and redefine success. For me, that means bringing more voices to the table, especially from groups historically underrepresented. It's not just about fairness, it's about innovation. And breaking stereotypes is, of course, something against your comfort zone. And in times of crises, a lot of people like to take the power and reserve the power, which means stereotyping is a trend. And you can only avoid this if you give the people more resilience, more quietness, more time, more relaxing, more, of course, also the idea that they understand that breaking stereotypes is not breaking only the comfort zone. It is also that it breaks your limits. It gives you access to working limiters, to getting into a success you never thought about.
What are your thoughts on the role of women in shaping sustainable and innovative futures?
I haven't thought about this for a long time and thought that we are just equal. It's enough. But I understood that women bring collaborative, empathic, and resilient leadership styles essential in today's complex world. We are different. That's a fact. We need to move from token inclusion to systemic empowerment through mentorship, structure support, and culture change. I'm proud to mentor women globally to lead with courage.
Of all the honors and awards you've received, which ones are you most proud of and why?
I mean, each award is a kind of mirror of collective work, and I'm proud of each of them. I'm proud of recognitions like being a LinkedIn top voice for sustainability, my engagements, also my online game I coded, where I got from Google on an award because it's Code and Save the Planet. I mean, if this title don't give you an award for itself. So, I mean, I'm most proud of the impact. When somebody says your work helped me change direction, that's my biggest award. And I get this every week by mentorship.
How has your experience as a former executive in the premium lifestyle industry influenced your current role?
It showed me the limitations of being in such a role, and sometimes the power, being feeling powerless because you are limited in different frames. On the other hand, this experience taught me how to create value, elegance, and emotional connection, and think bigger. Also found communities even in limitations. But I also saw the urgent need for transformation consumption. Now I use those insights to make sustainability desirable, not sacrificial. Luxury can be mindful, and sustainability can be digital.
What advice would you give to aspiring leaders who want to create meaningful change in sustainability and innovation?
Be bold, be kind, be future ready. Listen deeply, act with purpose, and don't wait for permission to lead. Start today, even with small steps. Leadership is not a title, it's a decision to shape the world with your values. And everything matters. Everything matters, every little step.
Thank you so much for a wonderful podcast. Looking forward to doing many more podcasts with you in the future. Thank you so much.
Me too. Thank you so much. And thank you for these great questions, Tim.